Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we get to the end of the book of Job, and the book of Job has a very happy ending. We see God confirming Job, accepting Job, and restoring Job here at the end. And as a matter of fact, Job ends up better off at the end of the story than he was at the beginning. Remember, when we saw him at the beginning, he was very wealthy. He was very influential. He was apparently very powerful. And yet, here at the end, we see that even increased even more. And so God was able to give him a happy ending. After all the pain, after all the sorrow, after all the suffering, after all the trial, Job sees the other side. And he sees all the blessings that God was holding for him at the end of his troubles. And of course, the obvious application to this is that one day we too will see the end of our troubles, the end of our sorrows, the end of our problems in one way or the other. Either in this life, as Job was able to experience, or, of course, when we go home to heaven with the Lord, and we get to see Him face to face, and we get to see the fruits of our labor, the outcome of our faith. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I believe that the blessings that we will have there in heaven will far exceed any sufferings that we've had here on earth. As Paul speaks about in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, in verse 16, when he says, "Therefore we do not lose heart, for though our outer man is decaying, yet our inner man is being renewed day by day. For momentary light affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory, far beyond all comparison, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal." And so really what we have to look forward to is even better than what Job experienced here at the end of his life, which was just mere temporal blessings. Don't want to downplay them. They were very much a blessing for him, and a way that the Lord showed his acceptance of Job. But in the big picture, they don't even compare to what you and I have waiting for us in heaven, as we are blessed by the Lord there, and how our blessings will continue on throughout eternity. And so our stories, just like Job's stories, will all have a happy ending. And that's something that we can look forward to. One other thing I'd like to draw attention to here is the heart of Job. You know, throughout this whole book, Job's friends have been accusing him of sin. They said, "Look, Job, you must have done something to offend the Lord. You must have done something to provoke the Lord to cause all these sufferings to come upon you." And as we read in chapter 1, we know that it wasn't anything that Job had done. The Lord had basically stated, remember, to Satan that Job was a blameless man, that he was a man who feared the Lord, he turned away from evil, he was not a sinner, and God was not allowing these things to happen based upon sins, but nonetheless his friends just kept picking at him and trying to get him to acknowledge some type of sin in his life that might have caused these things. And so when they should have been comforting him, uplifting him, strengthening him, they were tearing him down and making him feel even worse. Well, we saw that all the way through the book of Job, and now at the end, here they come with these sacrifices, with the burnt offerings. And God knows that when they bring those sacrifices, that Job was going to pray for them. God just knew Job's heart. Job had a heart for intercessory or intercessing. We saw that where he would offer up sacrifices for his children, just in case they might have sinned, there in chapter 1. And God knew that if they came and brought sacrifices, Job would pray for them. And sure enough, that's what happened. It says in verse 10, "The Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he prayed for his friends." Think about that for a moment. Imagine you have gone through the same experience as Job. Maybe some hardship, some tragedy hits your life, and your friends come to you and you expect them to help you out, to encourage you, to comfort you. And all they can talk about is the fact that you must have done some type of sin that caused this to happen, and to blame you for the tragedy that came into your life. And to do it constantly and consistently. And then, when the trial is over, when you're vindicated, when you're confirmed, how would you respond? How would you feel toward those friends as you look back at them after the struggle was over? I have to say, according to human nature, it would be very easy for someone to say, look, I don't want to have anything to do with you guys. Not only am I not going to pray for you, I'm going to reject you, and I don't want to even see you guys anymore. But Job didn't have that type of heart. He had a heart to pray for them, even though they had treated him so harshly and spoken such harsh things against him. Job prayed for them. As the Lord prayed for those who crucified him, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Here Job is praying for his friends, who were playing the part of actually the enemy, as they were antagonistic against him basically throughout most of this trial. So that's a good example for us, that we need to pray for people. As Jesus taught us in the Sermon on the Mount, we need to pray for our enemies. We need to love our enemies, do good for our enemies. That's the heart that God wants us to have. And you know what? It really does change your attitude, and it changes your whole disposition before them when you're praying for them. And it helps you to forgive when you're actually praying for someone. It's hard to have a hard heart towards someone when you're praying for them. So it not only helps them in that you're praying for them, it helps you too to help you get over any bitterness or ill will towards them. So these are just some things to think about with Job. I've really enjoyed reading through the book of Job. I think there's so many good things about it. It's so real to our lives. It has so many rich applications. But now we get to turn our attention towards the book of Psalms, and we're looking forward to being able to get into that. Well, I thank you guys for listening in today. I love you guys. Hope you guys have a great day. God bless.